help us make this thing what it can really be in. I particularly like coming to Europe because European government always thinks ahead. Broadband targets, right? European Union broadband targets. Basic broadband for every United European Union citizen by 2013, 100%. Good. Fast broadband defined as 30 megabits per second. They want 100% of EU citizens to have that by 2020, and they want 50% of the European households to have subscriptions above 100 megabits per second in 2020. Now, this is a group I can work with, because this is a group that really understands the power of broadband, the power of connectivity, and the importance that this has in everything we do. Our daily lives, the way we literally live, work, play, entertain ourselves, the structure of our markets, and so forth and so on. Now, I've been thinking a lot about this, because we've seen so much progress, right? So much progress in the last decade. And it's interesting that it's happening so fast, people don't appreciate how profound these changes are. And everything's changing again, sorry to say, if you just feel like you're a little bit being jerked around by it all. And I've actually come to a new view. I actually think it's going to get to the point where technology is going to serve humans and not the other way around, which is what it seems to be today. We seem to be spending all of our time serving technology. And it's interesting that Joe Scarborough just wrote an article. He's an American columnist who's very sort of well followed. He talks of a world where computers offer a cold substitute to human contact. And he says technology is winning the battle against actual human contact. And I think that this kind of criticism is exactly wrong. That in fact what we're building is in fact the opposite of what people are criticizing us for. That in fact the goal of everything we're doing is so that I can spend more time with the people that I care about, friends, family, and so forth and so on. That I can spend more time exploring new places. That I can have a more fulfilled life as I define it. And that I can make the world a better place. And for every version of I just said, say yourself, or say your friends, or say all of you human citizens. And I would offer sort of a happiness theorem, that computers are really here to make us happier, and that the quicker we can get to doing what we want, because computers take care of the stupid stuff, the stuff that bugs us, the stuff that's in our way, the better for all of us. So why is this occurring today? It's because of the prevalence of mobile networks. This is what this whole conference is about. A music player that's not online is not particularly interesting. Think every single device you have, and imagine that it's connected to the cloud and can do something more interesting. There are almost no exceptions. And in fact, physicists, technologists, and so forth are working very hard to make that possible. So what's interesting about developers is today they think mobile first. And they think mobile first because they know that this is where the scale is. So if you're a young programmer, somebody coming right out of college, or somebody trying to start a new business, you're going to start mobile first because that's where the growth is. That's where the action is. Whether it's true in our platforms, or competitors' platforms, or others. Now, how did all of this happen? Well, it's occurred because of three underlying technology trends that have been going on for a long time. When I was at Sun in 1983, I was very excited about the 3M platform. 1 megapixel, 1 megabit, essentially 1 megahertz. Now today, these computers, my Nexus S, for example, has 160 gigabyte of flash memory, a gigahertz processor, and a camera that takes 5 megapixel photos. Who would have thought that in that period of time, all the things that I worked so hard to build, took so many people, could now be put literally in my hand. And this, of course, is just this month's flavor. Imagine next month and the following month and so forth and so on. You get the idea. And in fact, what's interesting is we've talked about this for a long time. It's not like these ideas have been, the whole notion of cloud computing is a new one. It's been present in one form or another in computing and computer science for many, many decades. So smartphones are clearly taking over, right? Last year, I predicted, based on a whole bunch of analysis, that within 2 years, smartphones would surpass PC sales. Well, as usual, I was wrong. Smartphones surpassed PC sales on a quarterly basis last week. And by the way, PCs are not catching up at the rate they're going. So it's already, we already know that the smartphone is the destination for the next generation of games, apps, social connectivity, all the things that we all care about. And it's interesting in sort of reflecting on the history of this, and I'm old enough to actually be able to think about these things. This device has more than 20,000 times the computing capability of the sort of the lunar mission in 1969. Again, you start thinking about what has occurred, what we can put in people's hands today, and it's just alarming at how powerful these things really are. And of course, the same thing that's occurred on the networks. The average connection speed for smartphones increased by over 60% versus 2009. Now, many of you are on networks where you don't feel that's true. But the fact of the matter is, it is. What's happened is that the connections have gone up and your demands have gone up even higher. But the fact of the matter is that the operators, many of whom in this room, are pouring billions and billions of dollars and euros to make it possible for us to offer wireless data at this scale. And it's interesting that we're at the point now where roughly 98 or 99% of the world's mobile phone operators offer megabit per second or higher speeds, EVDO and up. Again, a great accomplishment, a lot of hard work, a lot of frustration on their part to serve their customers, our joint customers. What's interesting now is with the rollout of LTE, and everybody here knows what LTE is, a lot of the show is talking about it, it is reasonable to expect that you can get a sustained 8 to 10 megabits. LTE, of course, is spec'd out well above 50 megabits. And what am I going to do with that 8 to 10 megabits? Well, I can think of some things, but what's more importantly is that this LTE platform, whose rollout is going to occur this year, will create the opportunity for another set of applications which we can only imagine, which will be interactive and gaming and location-based and so forth for precisely that reason. So what happens is you have with the phone, or the new PC, if you will, you have the network with this phenomenal wireless data productivity. Again, think 10 megabits going from 1 megabit pretty much universally around the world, which is a gift from my perspective to mankind, from all the people who built that. And then you have cloud computing. And companies like Google are building very, very large data stores, literally millions of computers that are linked together that provide these services. So when you see a demo or you see somebody doing something, remember that they're showing it to you on the phone, but the key thing is that it's working with the service. You can imagine that this has a lot of implications for things going on. What can my phone do? It can take photographs. Well, why are those photographs not automatically uploaded when I take them? It can take videos. Why are they not automatically uploaded? My phone with a social component, with my permission, knows where my friends are. So maybe it can suggest my friends are nearby. There are many games that have come out that are very popular startups that are doing precisely that. Again, another interesting thing. Wouldn't it be interesting if you thought of the goal of your phone is first as a communications device? Well, we've already taken that for granted. Second, as a data and browsing platform and computation platform, which is what everybody's excited about now. And then the third, what about a serendipity platform? What about your phone helping you learn new things and meet new people you would not otherwise? That is the future of the platform that we are all building together. So this idea is not a new idea. Bill Gates in 1990 said the following: information at your fingertips, all the information that someone might be interested in, including information they can't even get today. What happened over 20 years? We had to build it out. The vision was correct, but we had to build the operating systems, the programming languages, the browser platforms, the underlying networking connectivity, all of various underlying wireless encryption protocols and distribution protocols, cellular networks, the roaming charges, the roaming business structures, and so forth and so on. So all of a sudden now, with your phone, why can't, when my phone, and I'm in traffic, I'm trying to figure out where I'm trying to go, and I have a choice of bridge or tunnel or this path or that path, why is my phone not talking to my friend's phone and trying to figure out what route they took and whether it's faster? You know the answer. Why is my phone not able to do something really important, which is telemetry of monitoring people who are ill? Wouldn't it be better to have your phone be taking care of your health? Think about it. It's there all the time. It's always on, and you might as well monitor your blood pressure and be there people operating in that to press the button to make that sort of stuff happen. Even more importantly, because these things are unified now, we can do something which is startling when you look at it. We can take devices and in mid-use, if it's cloud-based, you can substitute another device. So, for example, with our book product, this is true of others as well. You're busy reading a page. Somehow the phone breaks or what have you.
没有啊，
Switch to a different device, either a PC or a phone, and there you are on the same page because it's all cloud resident. So all of a sudden you have this agility, you have this ability that nobody else could do. So you really can do magic. Google Translate, the ability to talk to your phone and have it come out on the other end in Spanish. And it's funny that you sit there and you think, we've talked at length about universal translation, and yet here it is, it's just arrived because of the combination of the phone, the network, and all those computers. The phone just takes your voice, the network just delivers the voice in encrypted or digitized form, and the supercomputer that's in the cloud does the appropriate video and voice recognition, the translation, the voice generation, and out it comes back the other way, and that's done in, a 20th of a second or what have you. So all of a sudden, you can be anybody you want in terms of your ability to speak a language. You can, if you have trained in CPR, right, you can tell a location-based app to notify when your help is needed, and you can go off and help save a life. Start thinking about the implications of that level of smartness, location dependency, and again, with your permission, sharing of information with your friends. What I thought I would do is take a minute and show a demo of some of the things that you can do. Might not be obvious, and I thought I'd ask one of our Google executives, Gil, to come and join us. Gil, where are you? Can you join us? There he is, Gil. And maybe you have actually developed an interesting application on an interesting new device. Maybe you want to show this device.
I'd love to. Thank you, Eric. Good afternoon, everyone. In the last couple of days, I've been taking a tour of historical landmarks of Barcelona. I used my Nexus S to take a few photos, record a few video clips, which I then uploaded to my Picasa account. Now, Nexus S is a great device for using it around town. It's light, fits in my pocket. But when I get home or to my hotel room, I would love to use a different form factor. For me, the new Motorola Zoom tablet is a great delivery device for media. Now, these new devices are great not only for consuming media, but also creating it. With the advent of 4G networks, users will be enabled to use high-quality video over wireless networks like never before. Today, I'm going to demonstrate for you Movie Studio, a new Android application which allows users to edit videos. It's an application built from the ground up for the tablet form factor. So let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to open Movie Studio. You're going to see that I have here a few projects that I've been working on, and I prepared a project for the purpose of this demo. Now, in this project, I already imported 3 images and 1 video clip. As you can probably tell, on the first image, I already added a title that says that I pretty much enjoyed my trip back in time in Barcelona. What I would like to show you is some of the customizations you can bring to Movie Studio to fit your artistic ability. So one of the things we can do is we can reorder these media items in the movie timeline. How about I grab this nice picture of the National Palace and move it right after the first picture. I really like this one, so let's take a quick look at it and add a special effect to it. How about a pan and zoom effect? So I'll select pan and zoom. Now I have the ability to change independently the start and the end rectangle. So let's leave the start where it is. And for and, maybe I'll just do a little bit of zoom just for the effect. There we go. I could customize this project in many other ways. I can change the duration of images in the timeline. I can trim the beginning or end of video clips. I can add color effects to my photos and to my video clips. Now let's look towards the end of the movie. This is a video clip I took. I don't want my movie to end this abruptly, and therefore I was thinking a nice fade to black transition will look good at the end. So let's like that. And my movie is almost done, but I think something is missing. I know. I think a nice background audio track would make this movie interesting, so I believe that it would be appropriate to select some Spanish guitar tune. So I'll import that into my movie. And we are ready to preview this movie now. Okay. That will give you an idea of how the movie would look like. How about, let's watch that transition at the end. Good. I'm happy with that. Now, once you have the movie set up the way you want it, how about we export this movie, make it a real movie, and we'll select the movie size, so we'll make it 720p, and the quality, let's say high, and export it. Now, I'm not going to export this now, it will take a little bit of time, and we don't have that now. So I already did that before this demo. And I'm ready now to share this movie with my friends on YouTube. I'm going to select that I want to share it on YouTube. Let's just call it Barcelona 2011. How appropriate. And there you go. The upload has started. Now, I hope I get happy here with my network connection in a second. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch to YouTube. And we're going to look at my channel where I usually see my downloads. Let's just wait a little bit.
And we should mention, by the way, that this is the new Honeycomb operating system.
It sure is. And I hope everyone will enjoy the new Honeycomb release on the Zoom tablet. This is the part where we have to...
Yes, this is the problem of having a networking convention. Everyone is on the network, including the special networks.
That's right. I think they will just have to trust me that the movie is there.
This is a Google engineer saying, "Trust me."
Either way, the movie is public, so they can enjoy it on YouTube.
You can see it on YouTube.
That's right. I hope you enjoyed this short run-through to the features of Movie Studio. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Really good job, Steve. Thank you very much. So I wanted to show you that because I wanted to give you a sense of the power of the world that we're seeing, again, all in this particular case on a new and upcoming tablet on top of the Android platform. And when you play with Honeycomb, you'll see the sense of beauty and power that you get with this new user interface that we have invented. I think you're really going to like it. I just absolutely love it. Google today can be understood in a different form. Going back to what I was saying earlier, you can think of what we're trying to do at Google is to get you to something very fast. That we ultimately believe that speed matters, that your time matters, that we want to get you back to being human and not a slave to the computer, network delays notwithstanding today. And so, if you think about it with our search properties, we've done a lot of things. People here have played with Google Instant. All of a sudden, quick, you can sort of see previews of pages along the side. You can see it over and over again. The investments that we've made in underlying data center architecture and search architecture allows us to do this. And it's interesting at the point now where we can answer the question as you're typing them, and this saves between 2 to 5 seconds per search, according to our measurements. Well, if you assume, many, many hundreds of millions of users of Google every day, the savings in terms of hours and decades and so forth per day of human productivity we're very proud of. Plus, it's a really neat feature. People really like it a lot. So when you think of Google, that's just an example of many, think of speed. What happens next with search is it becomes even more personal. That with your permission, give us more information about yourself, be logged in and what have you, we can give you even more personally tailored answers. Next after that, let's call it autonomous search. Here I am, I'm in the streets of Barcelona. I happen to like history. As I walk along, my phone tells me the history of the beautiful architecture, Gaudi, and so forth and so on, as I walk or drive the streets. I don't have to type the search in. The search is me and my interests with a GPS on a phone. You sit there and you go, oh, that's kind of interesting. Well, that's just the beginning of a large number of new apps that can be built that use that infrastructure to make a big difference. And search is also fundamentally understanding about what you mean. When I say, what's the weather like, it really means, should I wear a raincoat? Or does it mean, do I want to water the plants? So the more I know about you, the more Google knows about you. Again, you have to decide you want to do this. And many people will choose not to do this. Those who do, all of a sudden will be able to get even more personal results. We have lots and lots of examples of this, and in fact, as part of our investment in underlying search infrastructure, we're also working to provide more structured data. We're literally working to sort of extract, to move from syntax to semantics, to understand that when you do a travel search, you're asking about pretty structured data, whether it's hotels or airlines, and they will take you to the appropriate sites that have all of the best information about that, and then you can decide what you want to do. We've already talked about mobile and the mobile platform, which is a core part of what we're doing, and mobile search is a core part of our business. In Chrome, another important part of this, the Chrome browser has been growing very, very quickly. We have more than 120 million active users, and it's up three times in the last year, and it's 6 times faster. So if you're using a traditional browser, I think you should use Chrome. More importantly, because Chrome plus various library extensions and developer additions that we're working on will provide a programming platform for this next generation of cloud-based applications that I'm talking about, that we're demoing, and so forth and so on. We also have as a component, a monetization component, because I learned a long time ago you can have really smart engineers, no money to pay them. Furthermore, the developers, as much as they love a platform and the beauty of this, they'll go where the volume is and where they can make some money. So not only do we have a strong monetization platform in our traditional AdWords business, which everybody here knows about, but we also have it, for example, in YouTube. 35 hours of video uploaded every minute. Shocking. More than 2 billion views per day. 160 million mobile views per day, more than double in the last year and accelerating. And the business is, of course, doing well. Revenue doubled in 2010. We're finally now being able to monetize professional content at rates that are approaching what we need to build significant businesses for those partners. We have a display business, which is also taking off, which shows these powerful display ads, which show up both on traditional desktops as well as mobile devices. And indeed, one of the key things about software applications for mobile is they're going to want to have an advertising component unless they're selling the apps for $1 or $2, and we want to make sure to do that. So what does this mean architecturally? At some level, there's a disruption. Many of you are part of that. You feel that disruption. And I want to be clear that we understand that this is disruptive. We don't have our heads in the sand. We understand that these are scale disruptions. They matter. They affect people's businesses and so forth. In many ways, it's part of a pattern that's existed in humanity for a long time. There's a quote from Joseph Schumpeter. Capitalism inevitably leads to a perennial gale of creative destruction. And I would argue that the internet is fundamentally replacing the economics of scarcity with the economics of ubiquity. And so in a situation where you have very low cost of distribution and essentially infinite number of high quality copies, it affects lots and lots of businesses. And I would argue that this is both terrifying and exciting. It's exciting because of the scale, right? You can reach a billion people worldwide in a month or 2 months or 6 months or what have you. Could never do that before because of the power of the internet, the pervasive nature of what all of us have built together. But it's terrifying because it all has to do with information, and information is what people care about more than anything else. And you'll see this with repressive governments. You'll see this in all sorts of ways play out over the next few years. And we'll be part of all these debates because we've got privacy and numerous other issues, and I think the debate is very healthy, and I'm sure we'll have it in the Q&A as well. But what I will tell you is that we're listening about all of these issues because we're part of it as you are as well. So I want to finish my comments and get to your questions or comments by talking about the next decade. I'm a computer scientist. I believe very strongly in the optimism of what we can do with computers and science to make the world a better place. And I'm one of these people who believes that if you look at problems we talk about all the time, global warming, terrorism, financial transparency, these can all be aided very significantly by computer science and by the information that we can make available. That fundamentally transparency, right, the ability to sort of analyze and see what governments are doing, for example, helps the body politic become better. These are fundamentally information problems, and that's what computer science is about. So let's think about this world over the next few years, and by the way, pretty soon, within a year or two, with these phones that I'm talking about, which all of you have, and the tablets that many of you have, and with many more coming this year. Well, let me give you an example. You never forget anything, right? Computers are interesting. Computers are very good at making lists, remembering things, and keeping memories of what we do, which is precisely what we're not good at. So starting soon, again, if you choose to, it'll be possible to remember the hotels that you stayed at, where you went, the pictures that you took, the friends that you met with, so that you can refer back to that. Pretty powerful kinds of things. I just forget. Everybody forgets. Human memories are not accurate, but computer memories live forever. Another example, you're never lost. You know, when I was a boy growing up in Europe, I was always lost, right? I was lost as a teenager, lost in college, right? You have to go buy the map, I couldn't afford them, and so forth and so on. Now you're never lost. When was the last time you had a good being lost experience, right? It just does not happen. Not only do you know down where you are down to the meter, but soon we'll be able to do it down to the centimeter because of the accuracy of these signals, right? I mean, you have to turn your computer off to get lost, and you would never turn off your computer, right? So you'll never get lost. It's this bizarre property of all of this. And by the way, with your permission, all your friends know where you are too. So they can also find you. And what's interesting is that people who love the Earth can love it more, right? I think all of us feel strongly about how the planet, our only planet, is so important. You can learn using the tools and techniques, things like Google Earth and Maps and all the other services. Not only can you see them as static objects, but you can build platforms on top of them and navigate to them and understand how they're changing and obsess about them in the way that you should. And to understand what we're really doing to the planet and hopefully even fix it before it's too late. Pretty important. You can clearly have all the world's information at your fingertips so we can translate everything to everything else. Now, I don't know if that will prevent war, but it will certainly increase the amount of talking before war. Right? An awful lot of conflict has been fundamentally due to misunderstanding of culture. Humans are generally good and generally want the same things, and yet we don't talk to each other enough. Now we can do it, and we can understand the depth of the culture when we're sitting across the other side of the table. You know what to pay attention to right now. I don't know about you all, but there's so much coming in, but the computer can help you sort out. We can help figure out what you should be spending your time on. We can give you a priority list that's tailored to you. All of a sudden, you're not lost. You can love the Earth. You can talk to anybody you want to in the globe. Pretty interesting. Even better, you're never lonely. There's always people around you. And if they're not physically with you, they're certainly online with you 24 hours a day. And when you're jet lagged, you can turn on and you can talk to your friends in another set of time zones, and they're there as if you were there. And you're never bored, because not only are there things to do, but we can suggest even new things for you. So a lifelong life of entertainment and knowledge is possible. And you're never out of ideas, right? Because we can always suggest new ideas, what you could do, what you could do next, and so forth. And imagine a calendar of all the world's events, all the interesting things that are going on. All of a sudden, it's a potpourri for all of us to choose from. All because of the ability to understand what you care about, get that to you in real time on these new mobile devices, and use the supercomputers that are in the cloud to properly sort them so you're not completely overwhelmed. And of course, your car drives itself. It's obvious that cars should drive themselves. They probably drive themselves home better than you will when you're drunk. It seems sort of obvious if you think about it. It needs to have a kill switch in case there's a few bugs, but you get the idea. This is coming. It will be decades, I suspect, not a year, but it's coming. But what's most important about this future, which I've not said, is it's a future for the masses, not the elites. Historically, information was something that was held to the elites, to the rich people, to the educated people. And the thing that I am proudest of, and I share this, I think, with all of you, is that because of your work in spreading mobile devices, 2 billion people will enter our conversation who we've never heard from in the next 3 to 4 years. We don't know what they care about. Will they love Britney Spears as much as we do, or will they care about other things? I have no idea. But the important point is that they are coming. And they're coming with human values, human concerns, human problems. And because of the architecture, because of the scale, because of the designs that you all helped build at this conference over these many years, it's possible, and it will change their lives so much more than it changed any of ours. And that's what I'm proudest of. So this is a future that's very much committed to doing good. It's a future where our technology, our approach, should give people something that matters to them, which is time. It should give them time back. It's a quote from the New York Times from William Gibson. Google is made of us, a sort of coral reef of human minds and their products. I hope we can all, working together, fulfill what I consider to be an extraordinary vision of what technology can do to make mankind a better experience and make the world a better place. Thank you so very much.